Hi guys! We're back for another movie chat, which is the Blair Witch Project from the 1999, I think it was. So yeah, I'm really excited to chat and see what everyone thought. So I'll just add everyone in. 1 second. Emma. There we go. That should be everyone invited. Hi, Oh, where's the snot? Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
Just excuse Josh. He's very scared. I'm loving the beanie hat.
I'm back from the woods. I've just got
I
out of the
know. Josh has been to the woods today, and he didn't recreate the Blair Witch Project for us, and I'm really disappointed.
Missed opportunity.
I know.
Like, it's just a bad idea.
Oh, I love the story you did on the rope swing though. There was definitely murderous vibes there. Definitely.
It felt like a lure.
I'm just trying to add Emma in. It's not working. Emma? Is she?
Oh no.
It says Emma unable to join. Oh dear.
She's pulling a prank.
Oh, is Emma the Blair
believe
Witch? I'll try again. I've sent another one. Hi guys, thanks for joining in, and thanks to Stephanie. So Stephanie's joining us as our special guest.
Yay.
Emma. Oh,
Hello. Hello. Oh gosh, I can't do the whole life like that.
I'm disappointed now.
I couldn't help it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, brilliant. As you can tell, Stephanie, we're all a bit crazy here on Movie Club.
I love it. Don't know what she's talking about.
Totally normal.
Oh dear, I feel a bit like I should have put a hat on now.
I know. The fluffy hat.
Missed out there. Oh, well, thanks guys, thanks for joining us, and thanks to everyone joining in. So yeah, as I said, Josh has been in the woods today, and he could have done us like a proper Blair Witch thing, but yeah.
I did get
should have done it from your tent.
I got completely lost.
No.
Yeah, I know. Did you lose the map and the compass?
Yeah, lost the map. My teeth fell out. Yeah, it was just a whole thing. Horrible.
Thought you looked a bit toothy today. But as usual, we've got the brilliant Josh, the author of The Shadow Glass, joining us, and the brilliant Emma, who's also a fabulous author and has got a brilliant Christmas short story in this book. I love that cover. It's always two, sorry. Oh, I've got an extra one to read. But yeah, I always love that cover. It's really, really creepy. And we've got the brilliant Stephanie from Books in the Freezer podcast joining us. And I love your podcast, Stephanie. So thank you for joining us. I can't wait to chat all things Blair Witch with you all. So we're talking about the Blair Witch Project from 1999, I believe it was. I always go to say 1994 because of it.
Yeah.
I get very confused. But yeah, so basically it's set in October 1994, and whilst filming a documentary on the local Blair Witch legend, 3 student filmmakers in the woods near Burkittsville, Maryland, basically disappear. And then their footage gets found, apparently, allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. So apparently it only took about 8 days to film. Oh, I've just lost my notes. That's not very good. There we go. There's been such weird things happening today. Yeah. It just went off.
It's the Blair Witch. She's not happy with us.
Oh dear, I'm always in the bad books with the Blair Witch. So it took 8 days apparently to shoot the film, and the 3 principal actors, so Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, And every time when I rewatched it today, they shouted, Josh! I was like, oh, what's happened to Josh?
What happened to him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael C. Williams. And they shot most of the film themselves. And apparently when it was released in theatres, some theatre goers experienced nausea from the handheld camera movements.
Yeah,
and
that's
actually
right.
vomited in the cinema. So, I wouldn't have liked to have been in the cinema where people were like, oh, being sick. Smell. Oh, dear. And one of the first, the Blair Witch Project was one of the first theatrical features to make use of a large-scale viral marketing campaign, which was really, really effective, where it claimed, obviously, the 3 characters had really gone on the trip, shot this documentary, and they were never seen again, save for the footage that they shot being found a year after their disappearance. And apparently more money was spent on the film afterwards, rather than the budget for the actual film, I presume for the marketing and things like that. And the real town of Burkittsville, because apparently it's a real town, where they filmed it, was awash with fans. And the town sign was stolen. There was they messed up the graveyard, and I think they had to put extra police in there or something. It was crazy.
Unreal.
So the local cinema in Burkittsville decided not to screen the film when it came out.
I don't blame them.
No, don't blame them. And yeah, so although the concept of the movie consisting of people's recovered video recording was not kind of new, because it was like Cannibal Holocaust, I think, in 1980. And then obviously you've got films like Fargo in 1996 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I guess, which was presented as true stories effectively. But yeah, the Blair Witch Project kind of managed to revitalise, that's what I'll use the word, the found footage style. And I love it. I really love it. It's one of my favourites. And just a quick thing before we get on to the questions, because I really did laugh at this. But apparently screener copies were made available a month before it came out on home video release. So you've got to think this is the 90s. So what they did on the screener copy, they removed the last 10 minutes and it said buy the VHS or DVD. Took the last 10 minutes out. And I was like, that's genius. It was trying to stop the film. Yeah, so it was trying to stop the piracy. So it just took the last 10 minutes off. And I was like, yeah, clever. So yeah, if anyone's got any comments, pop them up and I'll try and read them out as we go along. But I'll kick things off because I'm rabbiting way too much because I love this film so much. So Heather Donahue, our main girl in the Blair Witch Project, mentioned to Fangoria magazine that her first question she asked the director upon arriving on set was if they were planning on making a snuff film, which kind of, it would go through your head. I mean, it would, wouldn't it? Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So for its time, I think it was quite unique and quite an out there concept. So I'm not surprised that she asked that. And obviously she placed a lot of trust in the directors and the production crew. So would you have signed up, is my question. Would you have signed up on the premise, Josh?
Nope.
No.
I think nowadays I like my creature comforts too much. Maybe in my early 20s I would have been totally up for it. But nowadays I need my bed, I need my duvet, I can't be doing with sleeping in the woods with people tormenting me for 8 days. No thank you. I would lose my mind.
Just think of all the writing you could get done though, as long as you had good Wi-Fi.
I need food as well. If I don't have food, I get very hungry. It's not good.
Oh dear. Yeah. How about you, Emma? Would you have signed up for it?
Hell yeah! I would have signed up for it. I was straight in there. Yeah, where do I sign? Can I go now? Yeah, no, I would have. I didn't get to go camping as a kid. My dad used to take my brother and it was like, oh, girls don't like camping. And I was like, I do. I like camping. Take me, try me. And he was like, no, no, no. So yeah, I would go, yeah, absolutely, let's go into the woods. I am a bit suspicious though about going to sacred places and messing them up. So if they were like, this is a sacred place and the culture that was here first did all these rituals and, you know, made sure the land was nice, and I'm stepping on it and messing about, I'll be like, no, I'm not okay for that. So, you know, yeah, I'll come if it's just some woods, but if there's something cultural attached to it, I'm not stepping all over it. No way.
I like the way you were like, hell yeah, but on condition.
But yeah.
Oh, and how about you, Stephanie? Would you have signed up?
I think maybe, like Josh was saying, in my early 20s, it's something I would have thought about. But also, like, if you're an up-and-coming actor and you're having, like, a starring role in this thing that's going to be huge with the marketing, like, they weren't allowed to go to the red carpet. Like, they weren't allowed to be a part of the marketing, and, like, they were marked as deceased on IMDb.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really serve as a launching point for any of their career.
Yeah,
that's so true. Like, yeah, so the condition, I wonder whether they got paid through that year when they couldn't, like, exist anywhere.
I heard they didn't get paid much. Like, it was a rough deal.
Yeah.
fascinating.
Rourke said that she found it really difficult to get roles because they used her real name. So there's all this stuff on the internet that says she's dead. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Now that wouldn't happen though, because people wouldn't say those things, would they? They'd know instantly that she wasn't because of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's how wide it is now.
Karen's put, I went camping there the year after it came out.
What?
Karen's actually been camping there.
Of course she has.
Yeah, while I was at uni, and all the I can never say this word, alumni.
Alumni.
Stephanie, you'll get used to me. I can't pronounce things. Kept running around the tents, pulling folk out by their feet at midnight.
Oh my god!
No,
That is brilliant.
I'm out. No way.
Not for
No.
me. That.
Not for me.
I'll be the one pulling your feet.
Yeah, Emma would, you know. She totally would.
Oh,
No,
I love that.
It's a no from me. No, thank you. Thank you for the offer, but no.
Shelley says no.
No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I'm too much of a wimp. I really am. So bad. So when promoting the film, the producers claimed it was real footage. And the film creators were very diligent with creating and maintaining the illusion that the Blair Witch was like a genuine local legend, mainly through like clever advanced promotion and viral marketing, which, as I mentioned earlier, was like a kind of a first, really.
Yeah.
And they had a website that debuted on the internet 1 year prior to release. So they really put some thought into all this promotional material. I think they even placed flyers around the Cannes Film Festival saying missing people, but I think the next day they got took down because someone had actually gone missing or something like that. Some film producer.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that kind of backfired on them a bit. But the three actors were basically instructed to refrain from making public appearance, which is what we mentioned. And the myth kind of wasn't debunked until the movie had come out. So the word of mouth that happened for that year kind of popularised the movie before it actually came out. So everyone kind of believed that this was going on. So some people either at one point have believed it, or at least have believed some of the story. So when you first saw the Blair Witch, like, did you believe it was real at the time? And like, why do you think people fell for it so much? What do you think, Stephanie?
Okay, so it came out in 99. I was 8, and my parents did take me to the theater.
No, 8.
Oh my god! I can't tell if I respect them or if I think that's.
They did that
gotta
often.
start
They just
early.
didn't want to find a sitter. They're like, she'll be fine. She'll be fine.
I love that.
Just close your eyes.
So I fully thought it was real, and I left that theater traumatized, thinking that I had just watched these people's final moments. I'm like, I just
Oh my god!
and people were saying like it wasn't scary. I'm like, someone died.
Oh gosh, I can imagine at 8 years old, like,
And
yeah,
it's about
I
a
can
child killer
imagine.
as well. There's like child
Yeah.
handprints all over the walls and stuff.
Oh, I mean, I was terrified as a, how old would I have been? Oh, I'm showing my age now. I think I was 18. So I was terrified at 18 years old. I can't imagine 8 years old, like how you
No.
would have felt. Oh
Amazing.
gosh. So you definitely you believed it was
I
real
fully
then.
believed it.
Yeah, yeah. So when did you find out it wasn't real? Like
I'm
many,
really
many
trying to
years?
think. I might have been like 13 or something. And like it
Yeah.
must have been
Oh,
someone at school mentioning like, you know, and then we found out it wasn't real. And I was like, oh, we did?
oh no. That many
Glad to
years
be alive.
later. Oh wow.
Oh wow! Oh dear! Oh poor you! I just want to hug past Stephanie now.
But now you're a
Oh,
lifelong horror fan, right? So
That's true,
it
yeah.
kind of
yeah.
Yeah.
worked out okay.
Always at about 8 years old. It happens. You watch something you shouldn't.
How about you, Josh? Did you believe it when you first saw it? Did you buy into the hype?
So 98, 99, that was like my prime internet years, and the internet had exploded. I was all over it, you know, all over like the Buffy fan sites and all the scary movies fan sites. And I really strongly remember the Blair Witch website. And it was really convincing. Like it was covered in sort of real documents and footage and all this stuff that sort of effortlessly created this fiction, but presented it as fact. So for me, I was the guy going around going, it's all real, you know, like completely believed it.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that the movie itself was real, but I believed all the stuff that was sort of fabricated around it, because that website was so convincing.
It really was. It
So,
was convincing,
so yeah,
definitely.
I really strongly remember having conversations where I was telling people, no, it's based on a real thing.
My cat just opened my door. I'll be right back.
Oh, no worries. Oh, oh yeah, no. How about you, Emma? Did you
I
did you fall
I
for
didn't
it?
see it. I didn't see it in the cinema. I don't think. I distinctly remember going to Blockbuster to get it out. I'm pretty sure I didn't see it with everybody else. I'm so oblivious to everything around me, and I had no idea about I wasn't like Josh. I wasn't deep in the internet then either. I was about 19. But yeah, I think I must have been in my 20s when I saw it, because I'm pretty sure we got it from Blockbuster, and I was like, and I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't know about the hype or any of that stuff, because I'd obviously just ignored it. I don't know what I was doing, goodness knows. I would have been in New Zealand, so maybe that made a difference. Yeah, because I think, oh no, or was I back by then? Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, so I didn't see any of that. So when I watched it, I kept saying to Chris, "Is this real? Is this real? Is this this is a movie? We got this from Blockbuster. This feels real." I couldn't make it. I was like, "This is, you know, someone put this here." I thought that maybe someone might have put it in there, like in a Blockbuster box, and it was actually something you're not supposed to watch. Yeah.
Like
I was like,
Ring.
yeah. So I wasn't entirely sure until someone said, "No, it is just a movie." I was like, okay.
Oh,
But it was convincing.
Yeah, it was. I always remember I went on a date with my boyfriend at the time to see it.
Not Kev.
Not Kev. No, my boyfriend at the time,
Sorry,
who
Kev.
we will not name because bleh.
Oh no.
Yeah. No.
Let's call him Blair.
Let's just call, no, I can't
Blair.
say the word I want to call him. But anyway, so we went on a date, and he was absolutely convinced. I was a bit like, no, there's no way. And he was absolutely convinced that it was real. And he ended up convincing me that it was real. Because what happened was, when we got home, he said, look, I'll prove to you it's real. And there was like a documentary that they made on, and it was on Sky or something at the time. Yeah. And he kind of put this documentary on. It must have just been on and he knew it was on. I never questioned that, actually. How did you know? And he put this documentary on, and then I was fully on board. I was like, oh my God, it's real. I believe it. And then like I was on the website and everything. I was obsessed, and I was like convinced for ages that it was real. Yeah. So, no, honestly, like, yeah, I didn't fall for it, and then he convinced me. I'm so easily swayed.
Brainwashed you.
Yeah, it is. But that documentary that they did alongside it, where there was interviewing like parents and things like that, because I think Heather Donahue's mom or something got like sympathy cards because they thought that
Oh
she was
wow.
actually dead.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's dark.
So yeah, so like that's what convinced me it was real. So yeah, I was really convinced it was real, definitely. It doesn't take a lot to fool me, does it? We all know this. So yeah, so basically the three male leads then knew the film was going to be fake, and they believed that the Blair Witch legend was actually real. Even though they knew the filming that they were doing was obviously going to be like a fake out. So only after the film's release did they discover that the mythology behind the Blair Witch was actually created by the film, you know, the producers and the writers themselves. And numerous fans were so convinced of the Blair Witch's existence that, as I mentioned before, they flocked to like Burkittsville to see if the legend was true, which they kind of like take the mick out of in Blair Witch 2. I think it's the Book of Shadows, which it's really, really good. I quite like that one. So what did you think of the mythology like behind the Blair Witch and the kind of backstory? So we're kind of like just naturally intrigued by like urban legends, I think. And I think that's what captures your attention a little bit in it. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I think they give you just enough to sort of unnerve you without you really fully knowing exactly what the mythology is. I think there's sort of like bits and pieces, and then they fold in the stuff about Rustin Parr, who was the serial killer as well. So there's these two kind of weird things going on, and you're never quite sure which one's real and which one isn't. And it creates like a really quite unnerving feeling, really effectively, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. How about you, Emma? What did you think of like the myth behind the Blair Witch and the urban legend?
I thought it was really done really well. I especially liked the townsfolk telling the myth, you know, like them telling it, because it was like everyone's heard something a bit different, or you know, and they're all kind of arguing with each other. No, that's not it, or yeah, you know. And the lady with the kid smacking her face, I was like, how did they get that kid to smack that actress like that? You know, is that her kid? You know, smacking her in the mouth. I thought that was so convincing, and she was, it's not real, it's real.
It's real.
You know, yeah, and just all of them telling their own what they know about it. I thought it was really convincing. Yeah, I liked it. And as Josh said, it wasn't too much that you're overloaded with information. It was just enough to think, okay, is this real? Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Stephanie? What did you think of that? Do you like urban legends and things like that?
I do. And I will say the first scene in the movie that like gave me the heebie-jeebies was when they were talking to that woman who saw her and said she was like covered in hair, and the woman whose feet never touched the ground. I got like goosebumps. I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It is realistic, and that when they're talking to these townspeople, no one has like a full story. Everyone just kind of has like a bit of information that they've heard from somewhere else, which kind of makes it a little bit more realistic. And then, that scene where she's like reading about those like men that were tied together, like when she's on the
yeah. I mean, they do a good job.
That was gross.
Yeah, they do such a good job of like convincing you, like even as a viewer, like that it's actually real, and that has been going on in this town for so many years. But
it works because there's like, I was thinking about the two fishing guys. There's one guy who's a total cynic and it's like, that's total bullshit, and there's the other guy who's like, no, I saw her. So it's almost like it helps you believe in it because there are cynics around anyway. So you don't need to be the cynic. You're allowed to believe in it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, as I mentioned, I was like really into that this was real. So there was a book, and I have got it somewhere, and I couldn't find it before the chat. And it's like all dog-eared and old now. But there was a book that came out at the time. It was like a dossier kind of book. about the Blair Witch, and it's got all in there about all the urban legends and thing, and they really like go into detail in this book. So yeah, I think you can still get it. It is out there. I wish I could have found it, but if you could see what was beside me with the amount of books I've got next to me, I just can't find it. But yeah, so I was like really into like reading about it and learning more. And I always remember as well, I've never seen it since, so I could have dreamt this up, but there was like a documentary that was on over here in the UK called The Real Blair Witch, and it was about this like surge of cases that we hear of now, like with Slender Man and things like that, but at the time it was quite unique, where these kids like lured this girl into the woods and basically terrified her, and then put her in like this shallow grave, and they filmed it all so that they could be like documentary makers, like as in the Blair Witch. I've never seen it again since this documentary, but I know it definitely, I didn't dream it, it was definitely something that I saw. And that's scary, because that's like taking it to the next level. And
yeah, that's not fun.
Terrifying thought that's came from that, because they wanted to be famous for making a documentary style real life horror film kind of thing. Yeah. It just gives me the chills.
There's always one.
There's always one. Always. And apparently the hunting season, though, in 1999 to 2000 suffered because of the film, because there were so many people in woods that people couldn't go out hunting. So there's always a plus, you know. Yay!
Yay! Run free, little animals!
Yes. Yeah, that's it. There's always a plus to it. Always a plus. So the directors in the film did a lot of things to scare and disturb the cast whilst they were filming, and each of the three leads were required to sign a release granting the production team permission to mess with their heads, essentially. So the most powerful example of this is probably the late night tent attack, when the tent is like moving. And neither of the three actors apparently knew it was coming. So the terror that they had and the confusion and their like fight or flight response kind of thing was genuine. I would have been like, gone. And then they tried to like put a bit of discord between the actors by not giving them enough food, like just gradually weaning down the food. And then obviously the crackling sounds in the woods was the directors and assistants like walking on the camp's perimeter on the sticks and tossing sticks and all that at them. And the sound of the children, and then later on, Josh, was like boom boxes in the forest that like kind of played out. I mean, I would have been terrified. But what would have scared you the most? So if you was in their position, what bit of that or what bit in the film would have scared you the most, Stephanie?
The sounds from outside. All the scenes where they're in the tent and stuff is happening. That scene where they finally take off running into the night and Heather just screams like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
And you don't even see what it was. So like,
that's terrifying. That is.
Even as an actor, even if I knew and I was in on everything, just running out into the woods in the middle of the night, no.
Yeah.
You'd still be scared.
Yeah, I mean, you must get to a point. I know they signed these forms, they knew what they were up for, but you must get to a point where your mind is starting to believe that there is something going on out there. I mean, that's what I would be like. I'd be like convinced that no, I am actually going to die because the producers are gone and this is actually real, kind of thing. So I would be freaking out. I would be not a good person to be in that.
You'd be the best person. You'd be the best. You'd be brilliant, Shelley. Actress extraordinaire.
I
You'd be the
wouldn't.
best person in Blair Witch.
I'd be clinging to you, Emma, going, save me, Emma.
There you go. God, what a performance from that girl. Wow. It's all real. What I did was real, like Shelley be like,
oh gosh, no, I couldn't. How about you, Josh? Like, what bit would scare you the most if you were in that situation?
I think the hanging stick figures, when they find those, that's pretty creepy, especially if they sort of just turned up. Do they turn up overnight, or
Yeah.
something like that. Or they
The
stumble
rocks
across
did
some
around the
clearing.
tent.
Yeah,
We
like
come
that
across
kind of
them,
stuff is freaky.
Oh, that would freak me out,
Actually, that
definitely.
reminds me of a time when me and my friend used to like drive off into the countryside just to have days out driving, and we pulled into like this country, this like forest in the middle of the countryside, and we went for a walk, and we found like a man-sized chicken coop type thing, like completely abandoned. And this is a friend I also watched Blair Witch with, so we both just looked at each
Yeah.
other and were
So
like,
you're like,
let's get out of here.
Oh no.
So
Oh,
anything like that, no,
that's
terrifying.
just.
oh,
Oh no. Oh gosh, I
It was
couldn't.
the quiet. It was the fact that it was deserted and quiet. It was like, is someone bringing somebody back here, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, oh, it's made me shiver. How about you, Emma? What would make you scared, or what would be the most scariest moment if you was in their position?
I think when Josh is screaming, like if I heard one of my friends in the woods screaming, my instant reaction would be to go and help them. But I'd be like, shit, I don't want to go help them. I have to go help them. No, I can't. I have to. No, I can't. Like I couldn't leave them, so I'd be out there in the woods screaming as well, like, oh, where are you? Like that. That would be my scariest thing. Hearing my friend, someone connected to me, in pain and screaming. I couldn't. That would be. You can do anything else. Leave your rocks everywhere. When I was in New Zealand, when I was a teenager, me and my husband. Well, my husband now is my boyfriend at the time. We went with a bunch of friends hiking up a hill and into a cave where we spent the night. But when we got there, there was all hollowed out skulls with bits of candle in them and all sorts of stuff everywhere. It wasn't sacred ground. It wasn't Maori sacred ground. I knew that much. But someone had been in there doing witchcraft or rituals or something, because it was right by the beach. So it was over across the road. And so that was, when I thought about the Blair Witch, I thought if someone had screamed that they needed help in the pitch black in that cave, I think I would have freaked out completely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm such a wimp. I would have freaked out and just bolted probably. And as you say though, unless it's someone that you know, then that might be different. Because your instinct would be to help, wouldn't it?
You'd run away from something screaming. You'd be scared, but you'd run away from it. But if it's your friend screaming, you've got to run towards it. Why are they screaming help? What am I running towards? You don't know.
No, that's so true. Oh dear. Melina put she was in Germany on her uni year abroad, so she saw it in German. Which that's interesting. So I wonder if there's many differences. I know Melina watched it the other night, so I wonder if there was like many differences in watching it. And Karen put, I watched it with one of my flatmates, and she left a giant handcrafted symbolic stick thing outside my door as a prank for me to find the next morning.
Brilliant.
It sounds like something out of a Point Horror, that does.
Yeah.
And Karen also has put, I did get revenge as we watched House on Haunted Hill next, so I left tiny crafted footprints around her room, like those spooky children had run in there to get her. I love that. That's so great. Oh dear, that would get me. I'd be terrified.
God, you know what, guys? I just got a weird noise in my earpiece.
Oh.
No, seriously, I did. Like it went.
Oh,
was it you, Josh?
I'm not going to sleep.
I got a weird noise just in this one. Like it went. Oh, like was it you, Josh?
It might have been me going, oh, I don't know.
I was like, why? I mean, that one, not in there. I was like, there's a wall here. It's fine.
Oh no! Oh, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Stop.
Mine playing tricks already.
So if the four of us then were dropped in the middle of the woods and told to find our way out, like what would you be in charge of? Like what would be the natural kind of order? I would just be rubbish at everything, so this is a bad question for me. Josh, what would you be in charge of, or what do you think you would take the lead on?
I think I'd want the map because I'd want to feel like I was in control of the situation somehow, even though it was spiraling out of control. So if I had the map, I would at least have some feeling that I knew what I was doing, even if I didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Like, if you had the map, you probably would feel a bit more in control,
Yeah.
unless
It was
someone
actually,
stole it.
it was
Woo.
so funny watching this probably for the first time in like 20 years because obviously we now all have phones. And
Hmm.
even if you don't necessarily have like a good signal on your phone, you often are able to get some kind of a map and it tells you
Yeah.
where you are on the map. So it was
Mm,
really interesting to, and like, yeah, it wouldn't be. I loved how they kept trying to explain why she was still filming, and
Yeah.
I liked the
Yeah.
psychological reasoning behind it. But at the same time, nowadays, no one would question why you were filming
Yeah.
because
No.
mm.
everyone films everything all the time nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That
Mm.
definitely. How about you, Stephanie? What would you, if we was in the woods, would you save us? You would.
I would not. I have no sense of direction. I think I would want to feel like
Neither.
I was contributing, so I would hold the compass because that's just like you have to figure out the one direction, and I can handle like one thing. But much like Mike in the movie, looking at maps stresses me out, and
Yeah.
when he says it's all Greek to me, I'm like, I feel that. Like I was looking at the map in the movie, I'm like, how do you even? Where are they?
No, I'm the same. I have to have a sat nav to go anywhere I do. Like, honestly, I'm really bad. How about you, Emma? What would you take charge of or help us to
Well, I'm a
survive?
bit the same with the map situation. Although I can read a map, I've got no sense of direction. So I can get a map out and read it. But if I'm trying to find my way back somewhere, even if I've been there 20 times, I still can't find my way. I have to put the sat
No,
nav on.
I'm the
So
same.
it takes me a long time to map something in my head. But if I've got a map in front of me, I'll be able to figure out where we are and where we're going, which is really weird because my husband's got a great sense of direction, a photographic memory. But if you put a map in front of him, he's like, whatever, throw that out. I know where I'm
Yeah.
going. But I
He's like, right.
I can read a map. Yeah. But I would probably not want the map. I'd probably rather Josh had the map. And I would probably just want the torch, to be quite honest. So, if you'll get lost, I've still got my light. So I would shine the torch everywhere for everyone so you don't step on anything gross. Yeah.
Oh dear. So I guess that leaves me with like one of the cameras, like the big camera.
And get all our good angles too.
Yeah.
Perfect,
Yeah,
Shelley.
so
Perfect for you.
so yeah, that's probably the only thing I'd be okay at because everything else. But the thing is, I
You'd
would
be like,
just
can you
freak
do that
out all the
again? Because I
time.
didn't quite get you in shot then. Can you just go back to that bit?
Yeah, I'd be like, I just need to get the timing right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would be more screaming than anything. So I'd probably be good at like doing the screaming. So I was thinking about this question. And I thought, I don't actually think I would. One, I wouldn't survive. Like I always say that I'd be the first person to be killed off in a horror movie, because I'm just rubbish. So like, I don't actually know what I'd be good at in that situation other than freaking out. But we'll go with the camera. The camera sounds good. I
Yeah.
can hide behind it then and
You'd rock the
pretend
camera.
it's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretend
Yeah.
it's not real there. Dustin, hi Dustin. Dustin's put, I took part in the online campaign to have this released all over. It was called Bring the Blair Witch Project to Your Town or something.
Is that because it was a
Oh.
limited release or something?
From what was it not?
Oh, maybe. That's interesting. Dustin said it's starting to sound like Clue. I think he means like like us
Cluedo.
in the woods. Yeah.
Like,
You know,
oh,
Clue.
okay.
Yeah.
I've got the torch, you've got the candlestick.
Yes, I've got the camera. Woo. So yeah, so the Blair Witch was supposed to be, the actual Blair Witch was supposed to be seen in the movie originally. So when the characters were running out of the tent, and like Stephanie said earlier, when Heather yells, "Oh my God, what the fuck is that?" That's my really rubbish American accent. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, been practicing. So Josh, who's holding the camera, is meant to pan to the left where you're meant to see this person like in white, which apparently was one of the producers in like Long John's or something. But he forgot to pan, so the scene wasn't reshot because they just thought, oh, we'll just go with it. So obviously we've chatted before about things are more scary left unseen. So are we glad in that instance that that wasn't reshot? And are we glad that we don't see the villain in the story necessarily? Emma?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I don't like seeing the villain. I absolutely love the fact that I don't know what it is. If you can see it but you can't really see it, that's okay. But I don't think it suffers from not having that in there. I think it actually strengthens the movie that we didn't really see it the whole way along. We didn't see anything. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good with it.
Good with that. How about you, Josh? Are you glad that wasn't reshot and we didn't actually see a person?
Oh yeah, we don't need to see anything, and I think the clever thing is you almost feel like you did see something, but all you just had a feeling, I guess, like that terror of the final 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what happens in Blair Witch, the third film that was directed by
I
Adam
haven't seen
Wingard.
that one. Have you seen? No, I haven't seen that
I
one.
saw it a few years ago, and I think it's a lot more full on in terms of what happens to the characters and the words. Like they get like full on slasher killed, I think, if I remember correctly. And you kind of you do see some like a witch or something, or you see certain things. It's obviously like a very different kind of movie, and but I think the thing that's really effective about Blair Witch Project is that nothing much really happens. Like if you went home and tried to tell people if they'd survived and said, "Oh, we found some sticks in the woods and we found some rocks," and then it was really scary at night, it doesn't sound particularly convincing that you actually encountered a witch. So that's
true.
what I think is really effective about it.
No, definitely. I played the game that was released the same time as the new film. Was it I'm going to say 2017 or something. But yeah, the game kind of went along the same lines as that new film, and that was terrifying because again they kept it. You were running through these woods in this game, and like it was terrifying. Every now and again, like this thing would like flash on the screen, and like my son used to just laugh at me because I used to be like ah! like this because I can't deal with jump scares, as we know. So yeah, I love horror films, but I'm the worst person to watch them with. I really am.
All the best because you're very gratifyingly reactive.
Honestly, so bad. I'll have to tell you one time about the time I watched Sinister with my friend. That was an experience to watch that with me, but yeah, I'll have to tell you another time because it was.
Are they still your friends?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't know why.
Just checking.
Oh dear. How about you, Stephanie? Do you like horrors where you don't see the villain?
I do. I don't wish it was reshot. Like, I don't wish we would have panned over and seen it fully. But, like, while she's running, if, like, there was an Easter egg where, like, if you paused it at a certain time, you could, like, make out a face in the background or something like that. I feel like that would have been really cool if, like, real fans know, like, when to pause to, like, make out some, like, weird figure in white in the background.
Yeah, that's cool.
It would have been, like, really cool.
Yeah, that would have been good. And they did something similar in Blair Witch 2 when they did the DVD release. There was like an extra feature that they planted like little symbols, and if you had to like really look for them throughout the film. And I always remember, so when I rewatched the second one today just because I was like, oh, I'm in the Blair Witch mood now, I'll rewatch it. And at the points where those symbols appeared on this DVD extra, I was like looking for them. I knew still where they were because you really had to concentrate on where they were, and it was like a code, and then you had to put it in a website, and then I can't remember what happened. But there must have been like it released some extra footage or something like that. So like stuff like that I kind of like, but it makes you really scrutinise the screen to find it, and it's often at the worst points as well when it's like scary. So yeah. So do you think the actors were only given like 35 pages, like an outline of like the mythology and kind of what they had to do, and then they were given like checkpoints to meet up and then get the next instructions on what to do, and quite often they didn't know what, Heather might not have known what Josh had been instructed to do and vice versa. And I think when they first get out the car, they were already heading the wrong way. So it wasn't like just naturally they were going the wrong way naturally. So they caused some of their own problems. But do you think the actors did like a good job? Like, would you have been able to stay in character? I think they did have like a safe word, which was taco. So if ever they had to break character, they had to say the safe word first or something like that. How many times would you have said the safe word? It's kind of what I want to know. Josh, what do you think? Do you think they did a good job? Would you have been able to do it?
I think they did a really good job. I think that I read that Heather based her character on a director that she'd worked with. So she was like very sort of like self-assured and direct when she was making the movie, but then she kind of basically fell apart when she didn't know what was going on and, you know, everything went wrong. I thought she was great. I thought Mike was really great. He was like believably sort of like, he was the kind of like the child of the group, I guess, like just a bit all over the place. So yeah, I thought they were great. I thought they did a really good job. I think I probably would have been like taco as a question a few times, like taco, like just testing it, just making sure.
Test the water.
We're good.
Unlike me, I'd be like taco, like every 5 minutes.
Like that bit where the bit where Mike's chucked the map and everyone goes absolutely crazy at him. But you can hear it in both their voices. It's unrestrained. It's really scary.
Well, they didn't know that he had done that until that moment, because he'd got an instruction to like pinch the map and get rid of it. So he obviously did kick it in the water, but they didn't know until that point. So that was like a genuine reaction to them, which is it's like both terrifying and amazing both at the same time, kind of thing. Oh dear. How about you, Stephanie? Do you think they did a good job? Would you have said the safe word?
I think I would have. If I was Heather, I'd be like, wait, are you guys really mad at me though? Like, I need to know. Or are we in character?
Friends?
We still friends? Like, we're cool. We're cool. Like, okay. No, I think we did a really good job. And I think, especially Mike having to do like the breakdown and where we see him just like crouch, like rocking.
Rocking.
Like, he's absolutely lost it. And like, he's eating a dry leaf.
That is very, bless him. I think he's my favourite character, I think, in it, just because I felt so sorry for him. And then he had to go and stand in the corner at the end like a naughty boy, didn't he? How about you, Emma? Would you have said the safe word? Do you think the actors did a good job of staying in character? Could you have done it?
I'm not very good at acting. As an ex-dancer, I did try my hand at a bit of acting and I suck. But if I was good at acting, I probably would have tried to push it absolutely to the limit, to the point that someone's hands would be around my throat. So I would have wanted to go as far as I could possibly push it until that other person had completely cracked up. And then I'd be like, sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry, have a cookie.
Taco,
taco, I'm sorry. I baked you some cookies. But I think the actors did a fantastic job. I completely and utterly bought what they were doing. And I could feel it, like they really reached down and got that emotion and brought it out like they would if they were themselves. I think that's how it helped. If you would have put me in the movie and said, okay, you're Emma, and someone was screaming Emma and this and that, it would feel real for me. I'd be like, oh my God, they're actually screaming my name at me. And I think that was genius, because it puts you straight in it, doesn't it? And then the dynamics between the three, when they're all chaos and screaming at each other about the map and everything else. And as soon as they took out Josh, who was the friend between the friends, so you got him in the middle and they've got Mike and Heather on this side, then Mike starts getting soft at one point, and then, we've got to help each other. And then after Josh is taken out, you see that Heather and Mike have actually gone like this. We need to, she's hugging him and reassuring him, even after all that screaming at each other and he kicked away a map, there's still the human side of it coming through. I thought they did that really well.
because they're just so terrified, aren't they? At the end of the day, they're just absolutely petrified. I think they did a brilliant job. Brilliant, like, 'cause they were just so convincing as well. But obviously, they were obviously genuinely terrified as well, maybe. But I think it was the actors' idea to use their real names as well. I think, which is interesting, because how could you distinguish them between like reality and what's going on? Like, it would blur those lines for me. It'd be too freaky.
That's the genius of it.
Heather changed her name, didn't she, a couple of years ago?
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she changed her name to something else. It's on Wikipedia. Because she quit acting in like 2008 or something. She became a marijuana grower.
Yeah.
And she's an author now. And so I feel like it probably was a good idea to change her name. It seemed to be weighing on her.
Yeah. That name was cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she's kind of portrayed a little bit as like obviously obsessively documenting everything, whereas Mike is like trying to tell us like what we would think, and then Josh is kind of like peacemaker, isn't he? And I think that Heather got like quite a lot of backlash from the role, and she had some like threatening messages or something like that, and found difficulty finding other employment. And as you say, she retired from acting. But why do you think like she got so much backlash? Because I don't think she deserved that. No. By any means. If anything, like Josh and Mikey should have got a bit more backlash. But why do you think that Heather got the backlash? What do you think, Josh?
I don't know. Is it like...
It's a bit weird.
Is it a bit misogyny? I don't know. There's like the two guys... The two guys kind of almost gaslight her themselves in the film and like treat her really badly pretty much from the beginning of the film. So it's like this weird thing, I guess, that because she was a self-assured young woman, she was treated really poorly. It's a bit, it's not very nice. I felt bad. I felt really bad for her. You know, she was just trying to make a good film, and then it all went wrong. But it wasn't her fault.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. What do you think, Stephanie? Why do you think she got such a backlash? The others didn't seem to have, but she seemed to have a bit of a backlash.
I mean, I think it does boil down to misogyny. Like she said herself, she had kind of harnessed the spirit of a male director, and it thinks that we would not think twice about someone being self-assured and like thinking like, yeah, I know where we're going. Just trust me. I have the map. Like things that I think people would let slide if it was a male person, a man in charge. I think it really is.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a woman, and there's just less tolerance for that.
Yeah. Do you think the same, Emma, as well? Do you think that's what it was?
I do think there's an element of that. I agree. There's an element of that of she must not know how to read the map. Of course she doesn't. She's a stupid woman. Not there's some supernatural thing in there saying, you know, turning them around each time. It can't be that. It's got to be because she's a woman and her brain's all stupid. So I think there's some of that. But I also think that Heather was so annoying. I mean, honestly, she was just so enthusiastic. You're like, Heather, shut up, be quiet for 5 minutes. You know, it's like hair on my head. Oh my god. But yeah, I think she was brilliant protagonist. I really liked her, and I liked that she was kind of awkward on camera and then kind of annoying off camera, you know, making annoying comments off camera, and then it was all showtime on camera. But I don't know. Yeah, and I think it's a sign of the time. So I think nowadays people would have felt that she was the strongest of the group. Looking at it, she's the strongest of the three. But back then she would have been seen as the weakest of the three, which is interesting, shift in consciousness for the society, I guess.
It's interesting, really interesting that is. But I think the same. I think it was, you know, because she was a woman, and I do think the other two should have got a little bit more grief for some of the things they did. So obviously one of the biggest, most famous scenes is the scene when she's in the tent and she's got all the snot and the tears coming down, and she does kind of that big monologue, and apparently that was the way that was shot was an accident, because apparently she didn't know that the camera wasn't fully on her. Do we believe this, or do you think she did know and she was being very, very clever because she knew? What do you think, Emma? Do you think she
No,
knew?
she didn't. She didn't know at
don't
all.
think
She
she
didn't
did
know it
it?
was at that angle. You can see right up her nostril. There's, you know, she didn't know. I'm absolutely positive. No matter how chilled out she is about what she looks like, she had a camera up her nostril. No way. And it was brilliant. I'm glad that they kept it, and I'm glad they ran with it, because it was so authentic. You know, it was creepy, but she didn't know. Hell no, she didn't know.
What do you think, Stephanie? Do you think she knew she was being very clever or not?
I don't think she knew it was at that angle, like Emma was saying, like straight up her nose. But it is a brilliant monologue if she came up with that. Just like, yeah, I think it's so interesting, just, yeah, as the character, as the person in charge, really taking charge and like apologizing to, you know, everyone's mothers for their involvement in this. And then, yeah, her line where she says, I'm scared to close my eyes and I'm scared to open them.
Yeah, to open them.
Terrifying. It's just that one line. Oh, it just gives you, yeah, it gives you the chills just like hearing it. Yeah.
Was that in the script, Shelley? Do you know? Do you know if that line was in the script, or she just said it?
I don't think they had a script. I think they were told certain situations. So I think she probably was told just make an apology. That's probably all she was told to do in a little note that was left in the little bicycle basket that they used to use or whatever. I think that was it. So I think she came up with that.
Yeah, because it sounds scripted, doesn't it? It sounds like someone sat there and really thought about that. But if it came straight out of her mouth.
I think she did that because they just gave guidelines. They didn't really give too much script because they wanted to see what happened. I mean, they took a risk, didn't they? It could have gone really wrong and been really rubbish. But yeah, I think they just got the right people to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I might be wrong, but that's what I think. How about you, Josh? Do you think that she was clever with that camera angle? I think she was. I think she knew personally. I think she knew.
I think there's a lot of really like accidentally fantastic shots in the film. Like there's so many moments that have become iconic, and they use them in like the marketing and stuff. Like the shot of her running away, which is like a white silhouette on a black background, that is like ingrained in my mind. And that shot of her, obviously, that we're talking about, looking up at her face, like that's been used everywhere. And it's just so effective, and you're kind of, there's no hiding, you know, she's been stripped completely away. It's all just pure terror and chaos, and she delivers it brilliantly.
No, she really does. It is that scene. I mean, it's been like spoofed in like so many different situations, definitely.
I feel like Scary Movie ruined so many films.
Oh yeah, definitely
ruined them, because you can't think of those scenes now without thinking of the Scary Movie version.
No, that's true. Because funny enough, when I was rewatching it, that's what I thought of straight away, and I thought, oh, how funny that you automatically think that. So obviously the last kind of 10 minutes is like this frantic kind of search for Josh, and then obviously they find the house, which, you know, in that grainy kind of like black and white footage, that looks scary enough as it is. And apparently Michael was told, so his little note that day was, you've got to try and lose Heather in the house, essentially, so that she gets disorientated. And then, so if you notice, he kind of leads her upstairs and then he runs, doesn't he, away from her, and that was what he was told to do. Apparently in that basement there was people like dressed in black, so Michael didn't know what was going to happen when he got down there, and when he got down there they'd kind of like grabbed him, so most of the reactions are real, and they did the same to Heather. But I think they did have to reshoot some of Heather's because she got that panicky and disorientated and hyperventilating by the time she got down to the basement. And then this black cloaked figure kind of jumps out on her and says, "Drop the camera," kind of thing. Like she was in like a state. So they're hiding in the dark in like a black cloak or something like that. So what did you think of the ending? Because I know they tried to change the ending, but then they went originally back to the original one. Yeah, some of the endings they were going to do was crazy. But yeah. What did you think, Emma? Did you like the ending the way it was?
I did. I really did. I thought it was so effective. I'm surprised at what you've just said, though, because that kind of screams might have a heart attack. You know?
Yeah.
I'm surprised at health and safety. Mind you, it was the 90s. Where was health and safety? Not there. So I don't know if you'd get away with that today, because I think that someone would stand in and go, "Oh, no. Don't do that."
That's true.
And would they have had an ambulance on site if someone did do that, or did hyperventilate enough that they couldn't breathe? You know, and I don't know. But that ending, it still. You know, interestingly, even though I've seen the film, I know what it's about, I know it's coming, it still made my heart race watching it. And when he's gone up the stairs and his voice is coming from up there, then his voice is coming from downstairs, and when he runs down and she starts screaming, I was like, oh my God, but I know what's going to happen. Why am I still scared? It's because you've been told in the beginning that that's what happens. They stand in the corner because he doesn't want them to look at their eyes on him. That's what one of the locals said. So you know that's what's happening, which is just fantastic. Yeah.
And it's amazing. I always think it's amazing how that detail from the start of the film has etched its way in your brain as well. Like, how did it do that? Because it doesn't really get mentioned again.
It doesn't.
Only at that point.
There's no setup.
And then you're like, oh my God.
It's just set up and payoff.
So like,
he's in the corner. Now we know what's going to happen. Oh no, he's in the corner. You know, and you absolutely have remembered it. How did they know that this is what's going to happen? You know, when they were shooting it? It's clever.
Yeah. Well, originally they didn't. That guy who was talking about the children in the corner, etc., that wasn't originally put in with the test screening. So it was added after, because people were confused, so they didn't get it at the end. So they put that in after. But I still think it's clever, because it's only like a minute long maybe, but for some reason it gets in your brain. So there's some trigger word there that etches it in your brain. It's really quite clever, and
I don't know
how it does it. What did you think of the ending, Josh? Did you like it?
I love it. It's so great. And this time I really did think, I wonder if Josh is the one who killed them both. Because there's hints that he's like losing his mind. He hasn't got his cigarettes, and if you haven't got any cigarettes, you go crazy. You know? This time.
What about the bloody shirt, though, Josh?
What about?
And the teeth?
Done it to himself. He's gone mad. But that's why I think the film is so great. You know, there isn't necessarily a witch or Rustin Parr, whatever his name is. It could have just been Josh doing it to them.
Putting all the stones around and trying to freak them out.
I
like that theory. I like it. How about you, Stephanie? Did you like the ending?
I loved it, and I still, like Emma, I was scared this time watching it, knowing full well like what the final shot of this movie was, how this was gonna end. But like, it's very disorienting. Like, all the sounds kind of seem like they're coming from every direction. But like, when she goes down and sees him just standing in the corner, I think I was just filled with absolutely. And I don't know if you guys ever saw that, like, I think it was a promo on Cartoon Network, but like Scooby-Doo parried this.
Oh, yes.
Like, Dodgy was in the corner, and it was like a black and white shaky cam.
Oh my God.
Oh, I've never seen that.
It's the Scooby-Doo Project, isn't it? I think.
I don't remember. I remember seeing that as a
what
promo
it's
on
called.
Cartoon Network.
I think it's called the Scooby-Doo Project or something.
Never seen it.
It's really good. I've seen that. It's worth a watch, definitely. But yeah, I think one of the early ideas was to have, as like an alternate ending, was to have that fisherman and the son-in-law actually be the ones that playing the pranks on them, because obviously they say, oh, the kids don't know what they're doing and all that. So but they, in the end, they decided to go for that kind of ominous kind of ending. I think they made a good decision keeping that in, because as I say, it's clever, it gets in your head, and then it's just the way that it ends straight away after, and there's just no explanation. Which I know is the point of found footage.
And you're just
but
sitting there watching the credits roll going, what?
Going, what's just
What?
happened? What's just
Hang on.
So why do you think that the Blair Witch Project was so successful? Stephanie?
Well, I mean, we did talk about the viral marketing campaign that went with it, but it is, I mean, if you're thinking in the 90s, this was such a word of mouth movie that that thing that you experience and you tell your friends, like, have you seen it? You have to go see it. And it did just come out right in that sweet spot before people could really like Google things. But I feel like it also is a movie you want to watch again and see if you catch anything, see if there's anything you've missed. I don't know. And I mean, it had been, it's like we said, it's not the first found footage movie, but it is kind of like the first one of that era. It was unlike anything else at the time. I think people were hungry for that.
Yeah, definitely. It was fresh at the time and something different to what was coming out around that time. How about you, Josh? Why do you think it was so successful? And we still love it nowadays, so something has definitely captured people's attention.
I kind of agree with Stephanie, right? It's just like there was nothing else out there like this. If you think about horror in the late 90s, I mean, for me, it was all about slashers and like teen slasher films. Like I know we did last summer, an Urban Legend, and by the time it got to 1999, that cycle had almost sort of like destroyed itself again. You know, slashers come in cycles. So I guess Blair Witch was almost like our equivalent of like Hereditary, maybe, where Hereditary came along in a time of like torture porn and all that kind of stuff, and was just like, no, this is a scary horror film. And that's why that film really jumped out. And I think probably a similar thing happened with Blair Witch.
Oh, okay. I've not seen Hereditary yet because I'm too scared to watch it, because everyone tells me it's really scary. And like,
it's good.
I know everyone tells me it's good, but I don't know. Someone was talking to me about it, and they were like, "You'll never be the same again after you've watched it." And I'm like, "Do I want to watch it?
I can't watch it. I'll never be the same."
Be as scary.
So yeah, I'll get around to it. Maybe I should watch it over Christmas.
That's a happy Christmas movie to watch, Shelley.
Yeah.
I'll say to Kev, my husband, I'll be like, I've got a jolly film for us to watch. It's a Christmas film.
It is about family. I couldn't sort of Stephanie just that, but it is all about family.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh dear. How about you, Emma? Why do you think it was so successful and we still love the Blair Witch Project today?
Yeah, see, I agree with everything that everyone said. I don't think the viral campaign obviously didn't get as far as me. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know there was a website. I didn't know anything at all. So, and I don't think many people would have seen it in the cinema and let me know either, because it was obviously when I went down to Blockbusters when I picked it up. So I think the word of mouth does work, but I think it travelled like over a long period of time because people were still talking about it years later, because that's how I went to Blockbuster and picked it up, because someone had said, "Oh, have you seen that?" And I was like, "No." What's this? Yeah. And I thought I'd cleaned out everything in the horror section. Okay. So yeah, I think that's word of mouth is definitely, I agree with that. Word of mouth is definitely powerful.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think it was last year maybe, or maybe the year before, and I said to my son Corey, so he's 17 now, so maybe he was probably about 15. So I said, "Oh, oh, let's watch, because he was getting into horror films and that. I said, let's watch the Blair Witch Project. It's well scary. You're going to be so scared. Like, I was terrified. And we watched it and he was like, oh. Like, it just really wasn't. And I was like, what? You're no son of mine. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and he just didn't find it. He was like, that is just not scary, Mom. Like, why have you ever found this scary for all these years? And I'm like,
internet kids.
What?
Yeah.
I know, and I think it is. It's like, it is that, you know, they're used to all this, like, you know, all this other horror stuff, and then you show them something quite simplistic, and they're just like, don't get it. Like, why are you so scared?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was
Take him out in the woods after it.
Yeah, I said, right, come.
Take him camping.
Come with me. Yeah.
Take him a little picnicker.
Yeah, just leave it outside the tent. Yeah, that's what I should have done. Missed opportunity there to traumatise him. Karen's put, I got my first mobile phone a few months prior to this movie, and we only had space for 10 text messages to discuss the movie, and every text cost 10p.
Far out. Oh, yeah, it did cost.
And Melina's put Shelley. Yeah, worm. Melina's put Shelley. We do need to watch it together. I think that's Hereditary, because might do a little buddy watch of that. I'm too scared to watch it on my own. I'll probably watch it and I'll be like Corey was with Blair Witch, and I'll be like, nah. No, you're not saying yes, Shelley. So I take it I'm not gonna be. Oh, I'll let you know. So just a couple of questions to finish off then. So just for fun, how many times in the film do you think the F word was used? Now, my answer might not be accurate, just for anyone who watches this back and says, that's not right.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 5.
5. Emma says 5.
It was a 15 certificate when it came out, I think. So I'm going to say 9.
9. Stephanie?
I'm going to go high. I'm going to say 20.
20. Well, apparently, according to Google, don't shoot me if I'm wrong, it was said 154 times in the film.
Oh my God.
No, it wasn't.
Apparently, that's what Google says.
No, I think the whole movie would just be the F-bomb. F, all the way through. That's not true.
That's what Google tells me.
I'm going to count.
Yeah, we just watch it.
Yeah, it could be wrong, because I did see somewhere that said about 130 times, and this one said 154 times. But
It's still 130. It's
What I
mad.
can really think of is the what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Apparently it was said a few more times than that.
Nah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it might not be true. That's what I read, and I was like, oh, that was quite interesting. I'm gonna have to
Anyone
ask
who's counted, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. And just finally then, have you got any found footage horror recommendations for anyone who likes like found footage stuff? I haven't watched as much as I thought I had for found footage, funny enough. But have you got any recommendations, Josh?
I really like Chronicle, but I think Chronicle might break it at some point. And I think something similar happens with End of Watch. That's quite good, but that similarly breaks the found footage setup a little bit. But those two are pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna check. I haven't seen those, so I'll have to check them out. How about you, Emma? Have you seen any other found footage?
No, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I found a gap in my horror watching. How about you, Stephanie? Have you got any other recommendations? Ooh.
Yeah, if you've seen Hell House LLC, I think is one of my favorites. You've seen that? It's set around Halloween, and it follows this group of people that's putting on like a professional haunted house, and they go into this abandoned hotel. But like things go wrong the day of, and you're following the footage of like them setting things up, and like little things go wrong here and there. And then I do love the first 3 in the Paranormal Activity franchise. I think they're solid. It's a solid trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, that's that's another one I'm too scared to watch. It's because I don't like jump scares. Like jump scares, I try and avoid if I can. You know, I can watch someone be bludgeoned to death and like chased and stabbed and whatnot, but jump scares.
That was so funny with the Midnight Club, Shelley, when you said to me, when we were both watching it at the same time, she said, there were no jump scares in the book. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I know. I thought Shelley would be like, ah.
I know that because the first episode had that record for jump scares. But then,
I was like, oh, Shelley would be like,
oh no, oh it's terrible. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm just a wimp. But I do remember once watching, I don't remember what this horror film was called, but it was set in, was it Record? It was set in like an apartment, like a block of flats or something like that, and there was something in the attic. And they kept putting the video.
Wreck?
Is it? Oh, Wreck. Yeah, that's it. I thought it was called Record. But yeah, that was scary. That was. And there was like a monster, or there was something like in the attic. I think I was that traumatized from it. I've tried to block it out of my memory. But yeah, it's like a gap in my horror watching that I
You must have seen Cloverfield.
Oh yes, I've seen Cloverfield. Yeah,
that's quite.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, that is quite good.
I like
we could do a sequel.
Cloverfield Lane, that's pretty fun.
I haven't seen the sequel.
It's not found footage, I don't think, but it's still quite fun.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to check all those recommendations out because I need to watch more, and then I just won't sleep for weeks. So yay!
Just don't watch Halloween Resurrection because that's got like a horrible camcorder type thing going on, and it's just rubbish.
ruined it.
Don't do it.
No, not worth it.
Okay. Skip over that one in my Halloween watching then. Thanks guys. We've come to the end of our chat, and thanks for like answering all my questions and chatting about the Blair Witch Project, because I absolutely love this film and I was so excited that it won the vote for us to chat about.
Me too.
And thanks Stephanie for being our very, very, very special
Thank you,
guest.
Stephanie.
Thank you.
Having you. It was fun.
Do check out Stephanie's podcast, Books in the Freezer, because it's absolutely fantastic and I absolutely love it. And I'm a big Stephanie fangirl, so yay! And do check out Emma's short stories in here, which I thought there was only one and there's two, so now I'm going to go off and read the second one because I didn't realise that, so my bad. But yeah, do check out Emma's book, and Josh's The Brilliant Shadow Glass if you like murderous puppets. Oh, what did we do?
Josh, are you okay? A puppet murdered him for that. Oh my god, Josh, where are you?
What did you do?
I can still hear you, Josh. Oh, there you
I'm
are.
being Blair Witch.
Oh my god, I thought you'd fallen over.
I was like, oh my god.
Naughty.
Oh, Josh, that was like a proper jump scare. That was. My heart was going. I was like, is he joking? Is he being serious?
I thought he'd fainted.
It was the sight of his murderous puppet book. Yeah. That's what it was. Oh, Josh, well done for that, because my heart's going now. Oh, anyway, Josh, we love you, Josh. We love you. All right then, guys. Thanks ever so much then. See you later. Don't let the Blair Witch get you.
Bye.
Bye.